as the Chicago Bulls prepare for their first playing game, a game in which they're already probably going to be without Andre Drummond and maybe Ayo Dosunmu, you can now add another injured Bull to that list that will miss the postseason for the Chicago Bulls. We're going to talk about it all and more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bulls news and content.
What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. I'm the host there, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Bulls Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With this being said, let's go ahead and get into the content for today. So we got injury updates for both Ayo Dosunmu, but before we get into that, we have a update to Onuralp Bitim, a player that, initially when he came back for the Chicago Bulls or got called up to their roster, showed a little bit of promise. He kind of fell out that rotation after about 4 games, never really got back in it, even despite the Chicago Bulls' need for shooting on that roster. Well, now Onuralp will also be out for the remainder of the postseason. He does have a detached retina in his right eye that will require season-ending surgery. So the Bulls are going to be without Onuralp Bitim. Now, Bitim is not a player who was heavily into that rotation very much for the Chicago Bulls, especially as the season came to an end. But for people asking why didn't Bitim get in games more often, maybe he's been dealing with something with his eye for a while. So now that he will have that season-ending surgery, you can add another player having season-ending surgery for the Chicago Bulls. Now, this isn't as serious just because of the regular season's over with at this point in time, but it does suck that if the Bulls did need some shooting in a game, especially against the Atlanta Hawks where they just needed a hot shooter to come in, Bitim's not going to be available for that. And so, take that for what it will. I hope this doesn't harpen Bitim's offseason too much. He's a guy that I am still excited about his potential on this roster for the Chicago Bulls. He showed a really good ability to be in the right spots defensively, understand how to move and where to operate in space at as well. And, hopefully coming into next season, a season which the Bulls don't have a whole hell of a lot of cap space to add a lot to the team. A lot of people were hopeful that, with another offseason program and things like that, that he was going to be able to earn a spot in that rotation for the Chicago Bulls. But, so he's done for the rest of the postseason. Now, with that said, we did get a more positive update, and that's on Ayo Dosunmu. Ayo Dosunmu said that he feels better and that the swelling should be, or that he hopes that it's going to be in the right direction so he can play on Wednesday. We talked about that thigh contusion. It was always kind of one of those things that said that, it comes down to kind of the pain management with that. So he did say that he is feel better and that the swelling hopefully is going to be down so that he can play in the Bulls' first playing game against the Atlanta Hawks. And we know what he's done to Trae Young over his career. So hopefully that continues to heal and go in the right way so that we can have Ayo Dosunmu out there, because I tell you what, not having Ayo out there has made it clearly evident just how important he is to the Bulls transition game, if nothing else. Ayo Dosunmu has been a big part of that, a huge part of that. And, he went down with a thigh contusion. He said, it was Wendell Carter who kneed him in his thigh that caused that thigh contusion that's had him out for a while. So let's hope that improves for Ayo Dosunmu and we can get him back on the court, because we have still yet to receive an update on Andre Drummond. Considering that we are the day before the playing game, I kind of hope to hear something about Andre Drummond today, and we still may, right? So if some news drops for sure on Andre Drummond's status, make no mistake about it, I will absolutely be here to talk about it. I'll drop an emergency episode. But as I've said before, I don't personally expect Andre Drummond to be ready to go by the play-in tournament, which I think it does point to the Bulls are going to play extremely small. So having the most players that we can have out there, getting Ayo Dosunmu back out there 100% healthy is going to be important for this team. And, it's going to be an interesting game to watch with how undersized the Chicago Bulls could potentially be against this Atlanta Hawks team. And then especially if you look for going into the next game after that, playing either the Miami Heat or the Philadelphia 76ers, if we are able to beat the Atlanta Hawks, it's going to be made that much more difficult. So, we'll see how this postseason shapes out for the Chicago Bulls. But let me know your guys' thoughts down below. How do you feel about Onuralp Bitim having retina surgery now that's going to put him out? Now he's not going to play in the postseason. How do you feel about Ayo Dosunmu seeming like he's trending in the right way, and still no for sure update yet on Andre Drummond's status? Do you think that makes you feel more like he's not going to play at all, or do you hold out hope that he will play for the Chicago Bulls in this postseason? Let me know all that down below. As always, make sure you guys are following the show at Bulls Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, bullcentralpod@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related, thanks to you guys. And like I like to end every episode on, go Bulls. Love you guys. See red if you can, y'all. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.